What is going on, everybody? It is episode 186 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my returning co-host. Would you please introduce yourself?
Oh, hi, everyone. Hello, Crisis Actors. I've missed you so much. It's Mary, as you know. I think that you missed me more than I missed you. Actually, I was on vacation for the past. She's finally gonna look like she got some sun. But no. I didn't. I was in Ireland, and they don't have the sun there.
Well, we all know where you really were, and that was reporting back to your
reporting back
Fed.
to the Fed. Yeah,
Yes.
haha, very funny, guys.
How is Tad Bromwell doing? That is our assigned Fed.
Very well.
Doing very
He's
well?
He's happy with my work. So
that is perfect. We have a guest host today on a Friday, reigning Friday and Crisis Party champion. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
Hello, everyone. The king of Crisis Parties is back. Dane Font here, marketing man extraordinaire and the patron saint of White Boy Summer.
How you doing?
I'm excellent.
Did you enjoy the articles today? Everything I sent you?
Brett, yes, I did.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about, guys. We are going to talk about Netflix still clobbering everybody in the streaming wars, even though that everyone keeps spelling doom and gloom for Netflix. But we have some very interesting data regarding streaming overtaking cable media for the first time ever in history. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about an unlikely streaming service that's going to be launching soon. We are going to talk about Nintendo and the workplace culture of Nintendo. And then after that, we are going to talk about the director, the showrunner of a show called Reservation Dogs, which I actually just started watching, who gave this, what I consider like a 75% great interview. And there's just some parts of it that really bothered me that I want to address because I think it will give me the opportunity to to give praise where praise is due for the parts that I really enjoyed, but call out the stuff that I didn't like because I think it's indicative of the culture that we're living in now. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff, but before we get into it, I did say something that I said I was going to do. Don't worry, guys. I had a Chet formation today, but what I'm going to do instead, Are we
on Chet Rehab?
We are on Chet Rehab right now. I actually had a couple of super chats come in over the last couple of days that showed up after the show went off air, and I saved them. And I'm going to read them first. So the first one was from Waffle Sensei, and I believe this one was from yesterday. He says, "Have you guys checked out The Sandman yet? I find the lore fantastic, but the dialogue is atrocious, and literally every character in the show is gay. I'm not sure how they procreate in this world."
Oh my goodness.
The funny part about it is I was thinking like the YouTuber that I watch named Comics Matter. He always makes the joke that he's like, if you believed it, 55 to 60% of the people in in television today are all gay. How did we get to 8 billion people on the planet? We'll never know. So you do have to wonder. But I have not started watching it yet. I got through about the first.
We had a coworker recommend it.
Yes.
And when we realized it was a series, when it was first out, that made it less likely that we would review it.
Yep, it's always harder to review series.
Yeah.
And then we have another one here from Dark O's 1, and that was from 2 days ago, I believe. It says, "Super chat, simply to hold you all hostage, but in all seriousness, sometimes I wonder how to get on here as a guest, but then I remember I'm just a random guy, LMAO." I just wanted to say thank you because this has been happening where it's like somebody will I'm putting off the end of the show. I'm like, maybe somebody else has something else they want to say. And then invariably, as soon as I hit end stream, something comes through. So guys, thank you so much for all you do for being part of the show with us. I just wanted to read those and make sure that those got their due.
But if it's just Jessica saying hostage party, we're not going to save that for the next show.
I forgot about Jessica definitely had the one that we were gonna end up doing, but I think that it's good enough that we share those with our fellow Crisis actors. So
get back to work, Jessica.
She says that her lunch break is to watch our show. That is a huge boon for us. That's awesome.
I'm sure a lot of people work while they watch too.
It's good
so
stuff.
It really doesn't matter what we say. They're not really listening.
We can say anything. You never know.
We can go crazy. Anyways, firstly, before we start, since we're with the Crisis Party King, Dane Font.
Hello.
And this is my comeback day. I expect y'all to show out in the super chats. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying the day with most super chats, Mary wasn't here. Coincidence?
It's
Yes.
because they hate women.
That's
Damn.
definitely what it
Obviously.
is.
Damn.
That could
That's
definitely
discrimination.
Chad, you have to prove you're not sexist.
be it. You would not do well at
Prove
Nintendo.
You're not sexist.
You would not do
Right
well at
now.
Money.
Nintendo.
Right now. Send women money right now.
It's and donate to a cause of our choosing, basically. All right, we're gonna get right into it, guys. So the first article says streaming overtakes cable in July, leads platform rankings for the first time.
No chat formation?
No.
Oh, no, we're detoxing.
We're
I guess.
detoxing for
Whoa.
today.
Okay.
I think sharing
Someone's
with people
offended.
some super chats that we saved is a good way to start the show. Get the vibe going right. So
Yikes.
basically, Netflix, for all the doom and gloom that may be thrust upon Netflix by us and the media and everybody who has to complain about something, they're still kicking everyone's ass in the streaming wars. So it says, streaming services hit its 5th consecutive high in their share of all TV use in July, and for the first time ranked as the most watched platform across the entirety of the television landscape. Streamers overtook cable for the month, accounting for almost 35%, that's 34.8% to be exact, of all TV usage in the United States, according to Nielsen's monthly gauge platform rankings. That's up more than a full percentage point from June, and they've been steadily going up a full percentage point for like the last 4 or 5 months. I was trying to think of like what it would be for Netflix. The answer is obviously Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their flagship. And
Umbrella Academy as well.
Firstly, I was interested in the fact that it's still not the majority, because if you had asked me to guess, I would have guessed that streaming had overtaken cable long time ago, like by a long margin.
Years
And-
ago, right?
Yeah, and then I also find it encouraging that YouTube is the biggest competitor for Netflix, and they're positioned to maybe overtake them. If Netflix didn't have Stranger Things, YouTube would be able to overtake them pretty
Yes.
quickly, I bet. And they're at 7.3% under Netflix's 8%.
That's just TV too. If you really think about how many people watch, like,
Yeah.
What do you think people watch more on a phone?
That's like a
Netflix or YouTube?
Yeah.
You mean the-
YouTube by a long shot.
That's the smart TV app. That's pretty much those stats.
Yeah, it's just cable. It's just like Nielsen based on cable boxes and ratings on TV. So smart TV, Roku, things like that.
Right.
So cable TV 34.4% of the use, and broadcast TV 21.6% of the use. Meanwhile, both hit their lowest points in 14 months. I can't imagine why that would be, other than just it's been steadily going down forever. But if you really think about it, cable and regular TV together do equal more than streaming.
I would have thought that downward spiral would have started with the pandemic.
Yeah. It says
For cable?
For cable, yeah.
I'm guessing they would all be up.
And the other thing I find interesting here is how little Disney has, at like 1.8% of the amount, given that
Their popularity is so overinflated. That's why.
we just did a topic. I don't know if it was when you were here, or if it was a Hannah Claire day. Now I'm gonna have to ask that question for like the next week.
Maybe the next month.
Yes. Well, my brain is fried. Where we talked about how Hulu, because Hulu is 70% owned by Disney, now combines with Disney and ESPN to equal the most subscribers of any single company in all of the streaming wars, at over 221 million subscribers. They beat out Netflix for the first time ever. But it's not just Disney Plus. It's Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus. But even if you look at this, so we have Hulu plus Hulu Live equals out to 3.6%, and then Disney Plus makes 1.8%. So still way below Netflix, even with both of them together. But all you ever hear is doom and gloom about Netflix and how it's the end of the road for Netflix. I don't ever watch
because people want it to be the
Yeah.
end of the road for Netflix.
because of cuties and because of
And I agree. I'm
yeah.
on that side,
Yep.
but don't delude yourself that they're ever not going to be on top.
all of these companies always seem like great ones to, like, if you know enough about the industry, to like invest in once they hit their like valleys. Like every time Netflix does a cuties, wait for the drop.
It's
That-
well, it's sort of the same scaremongering and fake headlines that come about for Bitcoin
Yeah.
every so often.
Dane was just complaining about Bitcoin right before the show.
Stop
'Cause-
crashing.
I'm no like finance expert, but from what I can tell, every drop is like the valley is then like completely dwarfed by the peak that comes right after it.
Well, we haven't had a
Like every peak is bigger than the last, so it's a smart investment for that reason.
I have a friend who has like he got like a Bitcoin when he was like 18 and he doesn't know the password.
Yeah.
Dude,
I have.
He's
this,
like,
I know someone who is in.
Dude, when I was
a similar
21,
situation.
dude, when I was like, I don't know, like 20, 21 or something. I saw it for like 50 cents or something, and I was like, bro, it's over.
Chet was talking about crypto today. Did you know that?
Oh,
Chet was cryptoing.
Oh.
That was one of the things he was talking about.
To get back to streaming services, I don't think that there is a next Netflix.
No.
I think, you know what? I think that Netflix might get knocked off, because the thing is, like, if it just keeps like losing, because if
to YouTube maybe, I don't know if any of
Yeah.
the
To
other
YouTube,
ones.
yeah.
Because if it keeps losing like exclusive, because everyone and their mother apparently wants to start a streaming service now, as we shall find.
It's so bad now that like there's shows that I love so much that I go to like free streaming services they're on and look to see if there's like a paid version of it, and they don't have it because I hate ads that much. Like I tried to watch a couple of episodes of a show that I love called Lost Girl the other night, and I got 2 ads in, and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Every show
That's
you
not
watch,
most people though.
No. But we got this here. So it says Netflix warned Netflix users warned that the streaming service is dropping a much needed feature. They're getting rid of the ability to download content for the ads when you have to do the ad version, because how would you do that anyways?
dude, that's crazy. Like the cheap version of Netflix, not worth. You can't download the videos. You gotta watch like a copious amounts of ads. I think you're limited to like 480p, like resolution. Like, brother, like pay the extra $1.
I saw this tweet that said Netflix is stupid for not letting people screen cap from shows.
Yeah.
Because it would be really great for marketing if people were able to
Get clean images.
If fans were able to post images from the shows and the movies, would that be a dumb idea for them to allow that?
It seems like a good idea. I know a couple of channels that do like comic reviews that they buy the comic and they read it digitally, but they have to go to torrent sites to get like a high res image of like the panel they want to use for the screen for like the thumbnail, because you can't find high res thumbnail versions of it anywhere. So, and you can't download those from the actual app. So it says, according to Bloomberg, a code in the app could indicate that Netflix isn't planning on letting users with the cheaper plan download content to watch offline. How would that work anyways? Because you wouldn't be able to, the ads are triggered algorithmically. So if you download the movie, you wouldn't have an ad in there, right? There just wouldn't be ad breaks. Because, like, what if you downloaded it and it sat for months and then that company was no longer advertising with Netflix?
Yeah.
Right? So it's just it's a matter of logistics.
It's like they're daring people to just pirate things now.
It does feel that way.
You're not exactly helping the situation.
Another example, like when they made the announcement, like that there was like a panel that showed they might be doing like gay Bruce Wayne or bisexual Bruce Wayne. He goes, "That's it." He goes, "That's it. I'm done." He's like, "To the high seas, matey. Arr, I'm not doing this." He's like, they have one trick. All they know how to do is to turn characters gay. It's the only way they know how to get any promotion. He's like, "I'm sick of it. He's like, they're clearly coming for the cultural touchstones because there's 8 million characters you could do it to. You don't have to do it to somebody like Bruce Wayne. I'm not paying for this."
How is it
crap
relevant to
anymore.
the plot at all? It's like, Alfred, I'm gay.
Yeah,
like, okay,
basically.
well, can you save Gotham though? Like, you know,
It's
like
no,
who cares?
I'm gay.
It's the only thing that matters to any of these. We're going to talk about that more in the Reservation Dogs one because that ties into this other one with the people who have been promoting She-Hulk, because they don't know. It's like they've forgotten how to advertise based on the actual premise of what they're making, because they know the premise is dog shit,
Dude,
basically.
The clips I've seen from She-Hulk rival the First Lady clips, which was like no, I'm serious.
That Obama impression was so bad that I don't know if I agree with that.
I mean, you have to see the She-Hulk clips
Is it
because
going to be canceled just as fast as the First Lady, you think?
I mean, may Allah hear you, but it's literally, it's freaking horrible. It's just like, well, Hulk, you're not she-buff enough to understand women, and like starts crying. It's like, okay, well.
But the real question is, guys, if there was a company to start a streaming service that you would want, what company would that be? Dane, do you have an answer for this?
Walmart?
That is correct.
Wait, I have another answer. Daily Wire.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God!
Hey, you leave
Galaxy brain moment.
So Walmart and the Daily Wire should get together and do
Oh,
one.
can they do a merger?
Daily Walmart.
Wiremart. Say Walmart is trying to build a streaming service again. Apparently, they tried this before. Now, let's face it.
I didn't know that they bought Vudu.
Yeah,
because
they
I was
did.
like, whatever happened to Vudu? Every time we talk about streaming services, I think about that one. They all have similar names. Like,
I like the idea that that whoever I don't know
that
who
one
the
fell off though.
I don't know who's in charge of Walmart, but I like the idea that he got drunk and bought Voodoo one night. Like,
I just totally forgot about it. He went to get milk and cigs on Voodoo, and Voodoo grew up without a dad.
Dad leaving to get milk and cigarettes is my new favorite TikTok trend.
What? That's a trend?
That's a TikTok trend.
It's a trend of like it's videos of it's a guy. It's like when my dad actually comes back from buying milk and cigarettes, and a guy looking really shocked. Like it's
The way you said that made it sound like leaving your kids is a TikTok trend right now.
I literally thought people were like, "Hey, I hate these kids anyway." Huh?
No, it's just satire based around the concept of your dad leaving, never coming back.
I don't know which is better.
So it says Walmart is investigating building its own streaming service. The New York Times has reported and is taking some big name content players about which shows and movies it can offer to Walmart Plus subscribers. It's going to be called Walmart Plus. It should be called Walmart Max.
I don't know if that's a good idea because
Ultra Walmart.
The name Walmart has become synonymous with mediocrity.
Yes.
So they could have come up with something else that wouldn't have been as recognizable.
It's pretty cheap too.
So yeah, they tried to buy Voodoo. Now what I'm saying is Dane, I think what they should do is they should just post security camera footage of the worst things that happen at Walmart's. Like every time you come in, there's like a sign that says you are being recorded and you give up your right to not.
It's just a live feed of all the self-checkouts.
It's like World Star Hip Hop, but in Walmart.
Or even a game where it's like, or they have an interactive streaming service where every time you catch somebody stealing something from the self-checkout, you like type it in and you like let them know, and it builds like their own like library of thieves. That's crowdsourced outwards.
Libs of Walmart.
This
is so dystopian.
Guys, non-stop ideas.
Or
hit us up.
The other one is that they should do a joint venture with Cartnarks and turn people in for
Cartnarks?
Oh yeah, it's a great social media where like you just call out people that don't return their cart.
You show them? You like show a picture of them?
You show like it's just all.
I disagree with that. Sometimes I don't put my cart back.
Oh.
And you know why?
Oh boy.
Everyone boo Mary boo.
I will not bow to the system.
To the system?
Yeah, the system.
Bow to the poor cart put. Okay,
the system of common courtesy.
The first job I ever had was as a cart pusher, so I take particular offense to this. In fact,
do your job.
Yeah,
Brett.
like I'm a little bit offended right now.
Well, she was
Society has changed a lot since you were a cart pusher.
She was taking your job.
No, she's making my job harder.
It's not your job anymore.
It is not my job anymore, but I always put the cart back. Always put the cart
Unless
back.
it's the weekends, then
yeah.
Unless it's the weekends, then we go a little wild.
No, you always put the cart back. So I think that there should be one where it's like where you can like maybe they turn it into interactive betting where as somebody's coming out of Walmart, you bet on whether you think they're going to bring the cart back or not.
Do I look like someone who puts the cart back?
Do
what?
Do I look like a person that puts the cart back?
No.
Yeah. There you
Dude,
go.
Walmart
just
Live.
Because you're younger. Like I expect kids to not younger people to not have the courtesy of an adult.
Little
snot-nosed brats.
Walmart Live is getting better by every single proposition we're doing. It's it's gonna take on Netflix.
Let's make them some money, guys. Let's go pitch this to them.
This article mentioned Redbox, which I haven't used personally in like I don't know 10 years since my parents were using it.
Yep.
Do people still rent DVDs?
Apparently,
is that a thing?
Redbox is still a thing out in areas that have like less that has like worst bad internet connections. So you'll still see like Redboxes. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like there's absolutely still
every once in a while.
There's still Redboxes around. There's an inside joke. It's like if you're in a neighborhood and you want to know where to buy drugs, you just go find the local Redbox because there's usually unsavory characters hanging out around the Redbox.
They just loiter there.
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, this whole chat went off the rails with the whole Mary not returning her cart thing.
Yeah,
but,
I'm sorry.
That's you were on vacation. Maybe you're not back in your right mind entirely yet. We'll hold off.
I'll ask you to get back to our American values.
I will ask you again on Monday, and don't let Tim find out because Tim will be very upset if he finds out you don't return your card.
Oh my goodness. Really?
Question.
So scaled.
It says there are several ways that Walmart could approach its streaming ambitions, both of which Amazon has done with great success. Yeah, except for their stupid player, which is still awful, even though the setup of the of the Amazon Prime layout now is better, but the actual player is horrible. The best one I've seen so far is Paramount.
Brett, can we review Walmart Plus content
Yes!
here?
We will.
Yes, dude. Dreams do come true.
I was watching movies on the plane, and I realized that even on the plane, they have a better player than on Amazon.
Me and
you can
Mary,
rewind and fast forward more easily on a plane than you can on Amazon.
Me and Mary are single. Like we're like running a 2-person jihad against the Amazon player.
Well,
It's like
we'll see if anything comes of it.
It's literally just me. Like I want to Google it and be like, does anybody else have a problem with how crappy
I'm sure
they're?
they do. They just get away with being, incompetent.
So it says Walmart could also emulate Amazon's Channels product. Now Amazon does that pretty well. Like I originally didn't even have Paramount Plus on like an app. I just had the Paramount Plus channel on Amazon Prime. But the player was so horrible, I literally canceled the subscription and then resubscribed to Paramount Plus on the app so that I did not have to.
They have other ones than Paramount Plus.
Yeah,
in there, right?
like almost all of them.
They have HBO Max and Amazon.
They have Survivor.
Stars,
Brett?
I think Peacock and all of those are all available on there. Also, I want to make a correction. The other day I said that they were going to be bringing the John Wick prequel from Peacock to Stars. It wasn't. It was the other way around. It was
The John Wick
originally
prequel?
Yeah, they're making a show based on the
Fact
Continental.
checked.
What was he mad about? His dog was alive.
No, it's not about him. It's about the Continental, the famous the hotel that they all stay at. Yeah.
God.
So, but it's not going from Peacock to Stars. It's going from Stars to Peacock.
I want to voice my controversial opinion that because the amount of streaming services has gotten so out of hand and it's so confusing, there are so many subscriptions to deal with, and there's more all the time. I think maybe just one big mega corporation should come along and buy them all up and make them all one thing, and then the state can easily come along and control the mega corporation. Thoughts on that, guys?
Mary is our little.
I'm just trying to make everyone angry today.
Mary is our little is our favorite little Barbie fascist. She's absolutely fascist Barbie.
My little fascist.
It's not even a fascist opinion. I don't even.
It's very
That's
commie
not
of you to
fair.
want the state to come in and take over. Literally,
I see how it's commie.
It's like you're literally saying you want to.
But it's so confusing now. Like you have to subscribe to so many things.
Listen,
Just make it easier for my
my
little
God, my life
little
is so
baby
hard,
brain.
Mr.
I'm a good
Dictator.
little consumer. Give me my baby entertainment.
It takes like 3 weeks on average for Mary to subscribe to one thing.
I like the
We're
idea
just
of-
saving her time.
Somebody like in 2024, somebody should run on nationalizing streaming services.
Please, I would vote.
And
I
me
would vote.
and I, as the director of propaganda, I mean chief of staff for Shane Cashman, will do so. Formal announcement.
Official platform. Is Shane okay with this?
Yes.
You have to run that
Okay.
by him first, I
Okay.
think.
No, me and Shane are one.
You actually have Neuralink, so you know
Correct.
Shane's opinions on literally everything. So
Yeah,
you
something
can
inverted
represent
world.
his platform extremely accurately.
I think
They're
it makes
connected to
more.
the internet.
I think it makes more sense for Walmart to have channels like Amazon Prime than just their own content.
And for it to be part of their whole suite of,
Yeah.
you get cheaper gas and deliveries of all your groceries to your home.
They
And
just buy out YouTube
basically,
channels.
they just want to buy your life. They want to have all the smart devices in your home and manage everything.
Yep.
I love it.
Imagine
I
you're
love
a Walmart
control.
Plus.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Imagine you're a Walmart Plus. You're watching an incredible Walmart Plus original, and then Walmart Plus
Walmart
Fights-
Plus original.
just like banging it out.
Fights in the refrigerated section.
Right, and then Walmart Plus is like, I noticed your refrigerator is out of chicken nuggets. Would you like me to order it? The future is now.
But then they find out where you work and they lock your refrigerator.
Yeah, dude, you're screwed.
Not me. I'm the #1 propagandist for Walmart Plus. I'm fine.
I do want somebody to make the movie where like some big time CEO gets drunk and buys voodoo. Like that's
It
freaking
already
great.
happened in real life.
I wonder if he was sober.
You mean the biopic?
All right, let's do super chats.
Okay. Shards of Narsil said you were missed with a ghost emoji, so I know that it was directed at me. Thank you. Bad App said, "Marry who?"
Oh.
Wow.
Wow, damn.
You forgot about me that fast when you were super chatting that I was with you. Don't think I didn't see that. Alex Making Beds. What?
Making beds.
Mary, Mary, Mary in all caps.
Clearly, this was before they found out that you don't put carts back because they wouldn't be so. There would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
maybe
The
one
support would
exclamation
be
mark.
withdrawn
Chat's livid.
immediately.
Yeah.
Johnny Beck sent a thumbs up.
Thank you, Johnny.
What's
Tacty
next?
Platty.
Tacty Platty said, "Welcome back, Mary. Brett, feel free to share the Flash movie poster meme I sent you since you inspired it. Dane, stay solid. Ride White Boy Summer? Is it
Ray.
Raid Day?
The
Raid
king
Day.
of White Boy Summer.
Oh,
I've been keeping my posts fairly neutral lately on social media. I've been I don't post anything political, but I do post sometimes spicier takes than I like. Then I regret it because you always get that one person who just doesn't have a sense of humor. It's pretty typical these days.
there's one here from Bad App that I'm not gonna read, but there's
But-
another one.
But
that's
thank
just,
you, Bad App.
That's just mean to Dane.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
Classic mean Bad App.
He said Dane looks like he'd be a cuties judge.
Why would you read that one? out of
Also,
all-
Because it's not like overtly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked at the one before it.
This guy pays $2 to do hate crimes. It's incredible. Like, can you at least be more
Thank you.
generous with your hate crimes?
He's a
PHP sent $4.99 with no message. Thank you.
thank you.
Caper2X said, "Welcome back, dear Mary. Hannah Claire did a fantastic job, but Brett was clearly afraid of her. Please save us. Hardy strawberry for Dave." What?
What?
You got a strawberry?
Is
I'll
that like
take
a
it.
heart?
Are you really afraid of Hannah Claire? What's there to
look,
be afraid
There
of?
is some times when I'm trying to move on, and Hannah Claire gets a little excited, and I have trouble moving on because she gets excited, and we love her for it. Her
About
energy,
the topic?
her energy is what makes it work when she's here.
Mm-hmm. Dictator James said, "I just felt the need to say that I'm listening even though I'm working, Mary."
Thank
Based.
you.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that's
is
what I thought.
Would Dictator James be the one that's in charge of all the streaming services if that's what ended up happening?
No, it has to be Shane Cashman.
Okay, fair
Yes.
enough.
Who else?
Waffle Sensei said, "Mary left to go get milk and cigarettes, but she came back because she loves us."
Is this true, Mary?
Mary? Really?
Is this true?
Maybe.
She's like, I left my wallet here. I had to come back.
I'm outie. Tacty Platty said, "Mary not returning carts equals unmarriable."
Damn.
Unmarriable isn't a word. It's unmarriageable.
And then she corrects you on language. That's even worse. She's a grammar Nazi. My
Yeah,
goodness.
So what? I'm just saying, what's worth protecting about the civility in our society anymore? It's all an illusion anyway.
Wow, this really went from Walmart Plus to like the Breaking Down Society.
Well, but you're contributing to it by not putting your cart
That's
back.
what I want to do. I'm accelerating it
You're an accelerationist. That's worse.
by not returning my cart.
Every day you choose violence. You're just like, I like the idea that you bring it back there, but then set it next to the thing rather than
Oh,
putting
Oh, that would
Just
annoy me.
make my point.
it in the... Yeah.
Yvonne Ortiz.
Or put it in backwards.
That's a hella Latino name.
Because then, like, you have to pull it out and turn it around. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you actually do take the energy to bring it back.
No,
but
I
make
just
it
shove
harder.
it into someone's car. Yvonne Ortiz said Mary actually went away to go reset and collect all the data from the bird drones for the feds. Only feds are above cart return. Shame.
That's probably true, Yvonne. The other thing is, like, have I ever told you the story about, like, I used to work with a guy who, like, is like the most serious and normal person I've ever met in my entire life at, like, an office job, but he just had, like, a birds aren't real sticker in his cubicle.
Yeah.
And nobody could ever figure out whether he meant it or not.
Obviously,
but you can't just ask.
I couldn't just. I was just like, I like. I was like, he doesn't really. He's just normal. He didn't have like a super dry sense of humor. He was just a normal dude. But I like the idea that when he gets off work, he takes off his work outfit and he's wearing like robes and like a. And like
you should have asked him. What if he was like, "Have you ever seen a bird?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah, every day, dude."
Incredible.
Caper2X said no returning carts. That sounds like feds vibes.
That's You're
Is it?
You're a Fed.
Wow.
Our plea deal's still cool, right?
Bad App said I used my card as a battering ram. That's,
All right.
That's what I was saying. I just
That's
shove
more
it
outwardly.
in the nearest car. If they have bumper stickers I don't like, I just shove my car right into there.
I did see like a couple of like if you don't like healthcare, it was like something about some weird like pro-socialism sticker in West Virginia.
Well, just something that's weirdly non-controversial, but they're acting like it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm anti-starvation.
Yeah. I don't like starving kids. Do you?
Bad App said, I have bleach hair. I'm an F-boy now.
Well, all right.
Okay. Are you just copying me? Newt said, I would send more, but Mary doesn't return cards.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Eric Wright said, Miss Mary, if you'll be on IRL tonight, please ask Tim if he remembers hugging the guy in the Spirit Hood in Portland, covering Antifa, starting to go wild, 2015. I will cherish that hug until the day I die.
Okay.
Are you going to be on IRL tonight?
$43.21.
Oddly
Such a
specific.
specific number.
4, 3, 2, 1. Jinx.
But
Double
why?
jinx.
High fives. Ah, come on.
Well, I'm not on IRL as far as I know.
But you could still ask him that question.
I can ask him
Yeah.
that question. If I remember, I will try to remember.
All right.
Tacti Platy said, some accelerationists try memeing dank memes against this establishment that get you hella restricted, women's.
Yeah, I pointed out today, like I looked into my
The random misogyny.
yesterday. I went in and checked my direct, like have you the thing where like when you have like the message request form, it was stuck with like a
Yeah.
1 there, and I couldn't get rid of it. Even though like
You don't know which one you didn't open.
Yeah, like but okay, so I went in there. I thought there was like 400 to 600 messages that I never got that just showed up from like the
That's
last
a lot.
year and a half to 2 years. That most of them like story replies or like reposting something that like a video that I'd posted in their story that never came, like never showed up to me. I'm like, I'm not even controversial. Is that some type of weird shadow ban or algorithm problem? Like, what is that?
I don't know, but you're better off not getting the notifications anyway.
I know. Well, it's the part of it though is like I hate I can't stand the little number. Oddly enough, with my email, I have like 8,000 unanswered emails, but
Me
I don't
too.
look at my email that much. But like any type of like push
If it's on my
notification, no,
Instagram.
thank you.
Darth Doza said Ben Affleck is the one
Is
of
wa-
the best Batman. Okay.
Well, first
Is
of
one
all,
of the best. I think that's
I
what
don't
meant.
even know if I believe that.
No,
I just like that Dane
is
doesn't
the one
believe
of the best. Okay, so atrocious grammar from a Ben Affleck like fan,
it.
obviously.
He's getting
Like-
he like him and J-Lo are like having their wedding reception thing today or this weekend, so he wins either way.
Caper2X said, what happened in
Damn.
Ireland? Kidnapped by leprechauns?
I was hoping you would come back with like a Lucky Charms
With a
coat
pot of gold?
and a pot of gold. Yes. I was listening to like an old Bill Burr skit the other night where he's talking about like how he showed up at Harlem at 2 a.m. and he's like, I was really scared, but I think they were more surprised to see me than I was scared of them. He talks, so he's like, it was like a leprechaun with gold. He's like, top of the morning to ya. It's great.
To answer your question, I ate a lot of potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Bad App, I'm not reading that.
That was literally what they were calling it.
You let them call you that?
What are we gonna do?
Not read it.
At least they spelled boys with a Z.
Hannah Clark would like read it out loud. She'd be like,
Oh my
She was a little bit less afraid to say certain things.
by the way,
For
like,
me, it's just a matter of principle.
we're gonna make the second Crisis Party pretty quick. Did the second one, the first one, they didn't even sound right. Oh, there.
Wait, this is a first one?
You just had to believe.
Yeah, you spoke it into existence.
Listen to your heart.
Brian Love said, first time super chatting and first time catching live. I'm usually asleep as I work nights and I'm listening to y'all at work. Marvel, DC are okay. I prefer the indie Antarctic press. Some great comics. Gold Digger by Fred Perry. Best comics of all time.
Antarctic Press has done a lot of work in the last couple of years. I know that that's not Tim Lim in them anymore. Tim Lim does Common America. I know that they're the ones who had like all the kerfuffle with with your boy Zach when he was going to print his original Jawbreakers comic through them, and then they ended up canceling it because they got pushed back from weirdos online because people are weird online. But Antarctic is quite popular.
Glub G said more more crisis, more party.
I love your name.
P.S. Mary is the best. Thank you, Glub.
At least one person has no shame with their cart pushing etiquette. That's fine. That's fine.
I mean, there's been Affleck fans among us, so
that is fine. All right, let's move on, guys. We're going to talk about this doozy of a story that says,
guys, this story is wild.
Okay, so we'll start with Nintendo is actively investigating reports that its female testers faced harassment and discrimination.
This had me laughing so hard.
I mean, it shouldn't be funny.
No,
but
it's because they made the headline make it sound like, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
The headline makes it sound like it's some kind of Fox News-esque, as they said, frat house-esque environment. When in reality, it's just like certain employees not being able to socially adapt.
Yep. So it says Nintendo of America is investigating reports that female games testers were subject to discrimination and harassment. Thank you. According to internal messages seen by Kotaku. Well, that's your first problem. You're reading Kotaku. We have to read Kotaku after this. Earlier this week, the publication published a scathing report exposing a toxic workplace culture. I can't even say it's like trauma. I can't say toxic anymore.
This is such a long expose, by the way, that we can't even begin to scratch the surface. But I hope we can show you the best parts.
We're gonna pick and choose the funniest parts. Is what we're going to do. So, but we're gonna get through this part first because it gives an overview of it. So it says, according to Kotaku, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser.
I thought he was hired for the memes.
It's got to be a meme hire for his name. Like the next guy will be like Luigi. Like it'll be like an Italian guy named Luigi.
Like, no, we just picked the right person for the job with the most skills.
Yes. Sent an email to employees acknowledging that claims of on August 16th, the same day the report was released. In the message, Bowser stresses that the company is taking allegations very seriously, stating, "We have and will always investigate any allegations we become aware of, and we are actively investigating these most recent claims." Bowser also highlighted that Nintendo has strict policies designed to protect our employees and associates from inappropriate conduct, expect full compliance with these policies by all who work with us. This isn't the first time a large gaming company... Okay, they talk about Activision Blizzard. We know about that. The Cosby Suite. Those pictures are ridiculous. Kotaku's report says women are underrepresented and underpaid amongst Nintendo's contractors compared to their male peers, making up just 10% of these teams. In addition, a former employee claims that female Nintendo staff were overlooked for full-time work and progression opportunities. The report also detailed a frat house work environment, which mentions that female staff were subjected to sexually inappropriate and homophobia from male Nintendo workers. I'm going to ask a very insensitive question off the bat, and I don't mean anything rude by this. Is this just because like you're entering like a testosterone-filled, mostly male environment and just kind of like allow me to come in here and just not be a guy in what is typically a guy's environment?
Well, what we were talking about with Feminist Frequencies resource for Twitch streamers is they can't decide whether they want to frame gamers as these basement-dwelling incels or chatted up frat boys who have no common courtesy or respect for women. But it's whatever fits the framing best.
Right. Upon convenience.
The reality of this is there are probably like a lot of dudes that work at Nintendo and their subsidiary contractors who are socially unaware and make stupid comments, but then they make those comments to women who are wholly unprepared to respond in a way that makes any sense socially, and they're like so trigger happy to file a complaint about the smallest of offenses that it blows up into a situation like this where the executives of the company have to respond.
So the main allegation, the one that used to shock you, is the one about the Microsoft Teams comment about the icky stuff. So it says
the meme about
yes. Another allegation mentions a company group chat within Microsoft Teams in which a male staff member justified attraction to a prepubescent game character and shared memes about which Pokemon would be the best to have sex with. One former employee.
Look, obviously a meme. Obviously the dude was joking.
Well, that's the problem.
Obviously, yeah, like that's
It shows company loyalty.
But you shouldn't. Yeah.
He's like, I wouldn't do that with a PlayStation character.
For real,
nuts?
yeah.
But you shouldn't put that. You probably shouldn't put that in.
Yeah, for sure.
That's his own fault.
Workplace meme group chat. I don't even know if you should have a meme group chat.
Yeah, like me and like the like
at a big corporation.
Like our group chat is perfectly respectful.
Yes, Mary would never take offense to anything me and Dane say up in the studio when we're
Never.
working. Like Mary actually wants to go work for Nintendo now after reading this whole article.
I think it's obviously different when it's a huge corporation, and there are more levels to the hierarchy.
So let's talk about Hannah, who is the person that they talk about in the other article. It says, Nintendo is not only a company that uses contract labor to test games, but it is one of the most profitable. A corporate responsibility report showed that the net sales for its properties from April of 2020 to March of 2021 totaled over $13 billion. Contract workers are an essential part of this company with such enormous profits. Now, Hannah, the character of Hannah, or that character, the individual of Hannah, I believe, was a contract worker.
She was with Aerotech, right?
Yes. So it says the problem with was that women were both underrepresented among contractors, but also not often hired into full-time roles. 5 sources who worked at the Nintendo estimated the percentage of women contractors in testing hovered around 10% based on the head counts on their individual teams. Is this just a choice of like women aren't going into video game testing because it's something dudes do?
Dude,
Yeah.
and it's like, how would it help?
Is it literally supposed to be like 9,000 guys apply and 1,000 girls apply, and they should hire all 1,000 girls because equality?
Well, yeah, what they want is exactly 50-50.
Like-
Which is untenable and not possible.
Yeah.
So it says in some projects the sources worked on with several dozen team members, women in the team would number in the single digits. Oh my goodness.
Here's something ironic about what they said about women getting overlooked for full-time positions is later on in the article, it recounts a story of a woman who she felt pressured to take a full-time position because she needed the benefits.
Yeah.
But it's like you're going to either shame the company for overlooking women for the full-time positions, or when they give them women the full-time positions, you'll say that they're doing it for the wrong reasons.
So you can't win ever.
Yeah, you literally can't win.
Just professional complainers.
And I'm confused as to why they started this off with the shock factor of those memes that guy posted.
Yep.
When later on in the article there is actually something credible about a stalker.
Yeah, but that's not
That
nearly
seems
as juicy.
serious. But when you sandwich it in a bunch of other claims of like, this guy made this comment that made me uncomfy, then the stalking just is trivialized and overlooked in the middle of it all.
The response from the HR department was the most telling part of everything.
Which was?
Wasn't it
Well,
like,
because of the anonymity of the claims, they couldn't do anything about it.
It was basically, well, have you tried not complaining?
Yeah.
So it says Hannah also told Kotaku that she struggled to assert her financial worth while testing Nintendo's games. After working at Nintendo for 9 years, she found out a more junior male contractor in her testing department was making $19 an hour while she was making $16 an hour. This is where the gender wage gap comes from. She didn't get a
Do
raise,
you think
believe
that
it.
the male colleague negotiated his way up to 19?
I want to know, like, if he's a junior colleague, but she's been there for 9 years, maybe the dude just checked for a raise every year rather than every 5 years when this girl was apparently doing it, because she's been there for 9 years. Like, that's a long time to be at a company.
We've talked about
that's messed
this
up, though.
in the past, like how women are able to negotiate higher salaries.
She finally does when she actually complains.
But
not complaints, but actually brings it up.
It's because women are less likely to do that because they're conflict averse and all of these different, like,
Mary might not put her
psychological, sociological reasons, but like, what's the way that we're going to mitigate that? Because otherwise, stop expecting a different outcome when you're doing the same things over and over.
You can't enter a workforce expecting equality, but then expect for them to also bolster you by doing something you're afraid to do.
What is a way that we would mitigate the fact that women aren't as good at negotiating higher salaries? What would we do?
You don't. You let the
Like,
chips fall where they may.
I see a lot of complaining and not a lot of ideas.
So it says that she asked Arrow. Okay, so basically, she said after she complained, she got a raise up to $18 an hour, right? So we
still
also
$1 less.
That's still $1 less, but we also don't know. Maybe this dude worked more hours. Maybe this dude was just better at his job. We don't know that, and she's not going. Neither side is going to give you an accurate representation of that. You're going to look for something closer to the middle.
That's crazy though that they wouldn't like even her out. Like I'm feeling like she must have been like a little bit controversial.
There are so many aspects of this that are likely being hidden from the public. Like I just saw this story, I think from the New York Times, about this black professor who had his house appraised at like 4.5 hundred-thousand or something like that, and then he had a white colleague of his get the house appraised, but they removed indicators of blackness before getting the house appraised again. I have no idea what that means, what the indicators of blackness were. And then it was appraised at like 700,000 around there. And they were saying that's just racial inequality, that's just discrimination, but it's the opinion of two individual experts.
Yeah.
And we aren't told what was changed in between times. It's the same here. Like, there's so much that they're intentionally omitting from public view.
Yeah, I find it super, super, super suspicious that, like, she's like, oh, he got paid 19.
How did she know anyways? He's just like, I make $19 an hour.
I mean, that's entirely
he
possible.
He just walks around with a T-shirt that says, I make $19 an hour.
No, but like, when confronted with something like that and she has, I'm guessing her argument is like, I have seniority, I've been here longer. Unless their arguments is like, well, you can only get, this is the max amount of raise that you can get, or something like, we can only give you more, an X amount more.
I also want to point out that they refer to it as an incident when it's not an incident, it's just a pay dispute. So it says Hannah claimed that Aerotech management warned her to be less outspoken after she reported the incident. The incident of me not making exactly, and I harp on this all the time, that women in Hollywood are obsessed with the concept of fairness when it comes to money. They're obsessed with fairness in Hollywood, with the idea that everyone should make the same amount of money. With it, that negates the idea that everyone has different jobs, works at different capacities, et cetera, et cetera.
In Hollywood, it should be the easiest to negotiate fair salaries because you have a team of people who are responsible for the contractual side of things.
Dude, I couldn't believe that Bryce Dallas Howard was like, I can't believe that Chris Pratt makes more money than me.
You're literally a nepotism baby.
He's hella more famous than you.
We need to be fair to her. I don't think that she was complaining. I do think that a lot of that was the press setting her up to sound worse than she actually meant to. She also sings his praises when she talks about how he helped negotiate. He as a man stepped in and was like, I'm going to make sure we all get paid the same. He's like, I like the idea that he puts his like hat from Jurassic Park on to like as he goes in to have the contract dispute. So it says she said that her friends from the work group chat blamed her for reporting the incident, and that the only repercussion the translator faced, they're talking about the meme incident now, was that he was assigned sexual harassment training. So she's like, you should have fired him. Like,
should have fired who?
Just for posting the memes.
The memes, yeah.
Posted them.
So she's like, when somebody complains for something like that, what do they want? They want you fired. They don't want you reprimanded. They want you fired. There's a vendetta there. Was the meme off color and inappropriate? Absolutely. But they don't believe in second chances.
Never.
Yeah, it's just a power trip. It's clearly.
So the translator who made the sexual comments in group chat was a full-time Nintendo employee, and then they get into whether that matters.
They got so far into the weeds about how you got to be friends with the right people to get to be one of the red badges at Nintendo, meaning
you mean like everywhere in the world, dude?
Yeah, like you have to network to get a better job.
Is it just kind of like they want the world to bend to their whims? Like the world has existed and always exists and works the way it works, and they're like, that's not good.
That way,
and it's just not good enough for them.
It certainly seems that way. And I understand maybe if they're claiming that like women, because likability factor is so much bigger of a deal for women, I think women have to not just know the right people, but step on eggshells to not be on anyone's bad side, but that's not really what they're saying. They're resenting the fact that you have to network and be sociable in general, when really women should have an easier time of that.
There is something to be said that men are rewarded more for being confrontational.
Yeah.
I agree with that aspect 100%.
But that's not even what they're saying, because they just want to, spout complaints.
So it says Kotaku spoke to 10 sources for this. I'm literally picturing them find like people who have like I hate Nintendo in their bios. Kotaku spoke to 10 sources for this article who worked at Nintendo at different points of the past decade. They told a story of a corporate culture where sexist behavior was commonplace, where very little action was taken to address it. Most requests anonymity because retaliation could mean a loss of job opportunities throughout the gaming industry. These employees worked on games and consoles ranging from the early Wii U era to the present Nintendo Switch generation. Aside from the harassment, female contractors also faced issues with trying to advance in the company. I applied for a bunch of other jobs in the industry, and they would ask me why I was looking to leave Nintendo after several years. A lack of advancement opportunities was a huge part of that, a former contractor said. And that's what you should be doing. If you feel that you're worth more, you should absolutely go where you feel that worth is giving you what you're actually going to deserve to be paid. But most of the time they don't. They want to complain about it and not actually make the change or take the risk.
People are like, after Gamergate and like all the stories that I personally know of like nepotism and like crazy like hookups in like the gaming industry, I feel like for literally every single other industry, like I would find this like far more palatable and believable than gaming.
So does this all feel like frat boy culture, or does it just feel like an inability for certain people to adapt to work culture?
No, it's entirely possible that there's a frat boy culture. Like honestly, like minor segue time, like when I went to EVO, like the video game, like the fighting game championships of the world, I know like in the fighting game community, there would be a joke that Super Smash Brothers players were like weirdos.
Yeah.
And I was like, I always liked Smash Bros. So I was like, no way, come on. And then I went there and there were literally like waifu pillows, like smelly, like dudes. And then if their employees are anything like those fans, then yeah, it's definitely like toxic work environment.
I don't think the employees are like the fans, because
I mean, some of them are. Hopefully.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to paint them with a broad brush.
No, me neither. But I just did.
So Melvin Forrest has been working in the product testing department since the early 90s and eventually became the head of the department. Forrest is credited with working on iconic titles like Mario Kart, Double Dash, Donkey Kong Country, and Metroid Prime. Forrest makes the schedules for Aerotech Associates, that's the subcontractor that hired Hannah and the other employees, and returns after a project ends, so maintaining a good working relationship with him was crucial. This was a problem for female testers who had very uncomfortable experiences with Forrest as a manager. Several sources told Kotaku that Forrest made inappropriate advances towards female testers. Among them was Allison, who worked under Forrest as a data entry assistant. It was pretty common knowledge that he would make comments, hit on people, like to tell associates, "Oh, she's beautiful." She says. Forrest contract tester Chris Alice, who worked at Nintendo from 2014, recalls that Forrest went after all the associate girls and that associates would even warn each other to stay away from his desk. A former tester said that he would comment on female associates' weight and appearance. However, many felt like they had no choice but to stay on good terms with Forrest.
See, that's messed up. And I have heard of guys like that. I think that Valve had an issue with guys like that as well, and that he kept non-stop getting reported, and basically like the girls that were reporting them, like they put them in a room, they were like, what do we got to give you for you guys to shut up? And so like when it's like that, like I can't help but like to sympathize with them and hope they get their justice. But it's like
this is going to happen as long as we have mixed gender.
Was this the same one? Well, I agree. Was this the same one that they were saying someone verbatim said, if you tell anyone, I'll get you fired?
I think that was the other one.
There's a different situation. I think that's way more clearly serious. And I, again, dislike that they sandwich something as blatantly wrong as that in a bunch of trivial remarks like, oh, she's so beautiful.
Yep. Or even the one about like Hannah, which like saying like when it talks about like her being a lesbian.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's uncomfortable and the guy's clearly bad with women, but
she recalled her backup coordinator, a significantly older man who tried to hit on her when she had just started working at the company in 2012. When she revealed her sexuality, he said, "Oh, you're a lesbian. That's kind of sad." It was a poor first impression for Hannah's lengthy career at Nintendo's headquarters, but it wouldn't be the only one. She struggled with her working relationships with male colleagues who would ignore her when she said things like, "I'm a lesbian. I don't like you that way." And they would ask, "Oh, but are you sure? But you're flirting with me. You're just playing hard to get."
Also, I want to.
This sounds like clueless dudes.
And I want to talk about the one about like holding hands and like how like they said like one was like she was a girl
couple that were holding hands in their break room or something, and they said that was unfairly enforced. Their like no touch policy,
no PDA at work basically, and that they
them.
didn't enforce it among straight couples. But I like, could that be because they didn't like they were gay? Yes, but could it also be that whoever was doing it was higher up on the food chain?
It's just like, do you really think that your colleagues were like, "Oh, we don't like them because they're gay"? I highly doubt that.
In current year, I don't buy that's happening in a lot of places. So I don't know. It's is it frat boy culture? Yeah, maybe. But I also see this as like there's a certain amount of like struggle that comes with mixed gender working environments that we're still navigating as a society.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can solve that problem entirely.
There's a quote from, I forget which one it was. I think it was an anonymous test worker saying, "I felt deeply uncomfortable, like a deeply uncomfortable place to be as a woman. I felt like I was treated with a sense of otherness. Then I've had people act in a way that made me uncomfortable, then ask me not to go to HR about it because I'd be misinterpreting, making me feel guilty about my own discomfort. I never felt as included in things or as respected." The thing is, if you're a woman in a majority male environment, then it would make sense that you feel other because you are other.
Yeah.
You're not going to fit in the same way socially as you would in a gender balanced workplace. I don't think that the solution is a quota.
Would uniforms help?
Uniforms?
Like everybody has to wear the same thing?
I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that would help because it would make people feel like they're not supposed to act like professionally in their own right. It's like only in a certain context am I supposed to act professionally towards my coworkers, and then like
I don't understand. So like if it's casual Friday, everyone gets loosey goosey.
I mean, I had uniforms at school, and I know that.
Me too.
I liked the aspect of it that helped kids not like socially ostracize others for not wearing the right thing, but other than that, I don't feel like it.
I'm talking like exclusively with like
that
the sexual stuff.
I don't think that translates socially to adults. I don't think it should be mandatory for adults because you're supposed to be mature enough to behave yourself in a professional setting without forced regulations like that on what you can wear.
I mean, they're sending like which Pokemon would you bang on Slack, so it's like.
Yeah, clearly there's a deep-seated problem.
And that person got in trouble, but not to the level that she wanted that person to get in trouble for.
Right. Well, I mean, fair.
I think that's just an attempt to like throw her weight around.
Yeah. Yep.
If you want to get someone fired at a moment's notice.
Is this also just something where like if these things bothered a dude, they would just not say anything and they just wouldn't bother them the same way?
What
Can I say something?
Though?
Like I used to work at I won't say where, definitely won't say where, but like I used to work somewhere where like an older lady would be like, "I like your thick legs."
Oh
I like your thick legs too, Dane.
Thanks. And like she would like generally like say that often. I'd be like super creeped out and I wouldn't say anything.
That's what I'm saying. But does like do you hold a grudge about that years later? Does that still bother you to this day?
It didn't until she touched me. Then I was
that's
like,
different. Like that's
back
different.
off,
That's
lady.
different,
yeah, that's creepy.
All right.
I just think like it needs to be enforced across the board.
But that's hard. Like the problem with all this stuff is everything's on this weird ideological spectrum where every trait you possess is granted different weight. Your race, your gender, your sex.
I'll just say, like, I don't want to feed into the narrative that this is happening because it's involving like video games and video game culture.
Yep.
That's not why this is happening. This is just conflicts that would happen in a lot of different workplaces, not just because it's Nintendo.
It's unavoidable. Like, people are imperfect, and some people like literally like don't get it.
Yeah.
And like sometimes there's like a Chad Wagon and a Stacy, and they hit it off swimmingly, and then some neckbeard comes in and is like, "Oh, hello, miss," and like obviously he misses. So it's like, it's having self-awareness. It's reading the room. It's like, I mean, preferably.
It's like that meme where the girl swoons over the Chad coworker.
Yeah, that's
like,
literally life.
With the other guy, she's like crying on the phone with HR.
It's literally life. Like, just be aware of what you are.
The other day, it just seems like a horrible idea. All of it.
What?
Just the like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there is a way to do this type of work environment where this is ever going to not be something that somebody can complain about. At least not to the level where 10 years from now they can make all the changes in the world and somebody will still come forward and Kotaku will still be able to write an article just like this and just frame it differently.
Bro, Kotaku will write about anything but games. Like, they're like the gaming drama site. They're basically like the Keemstar of gaming.
Yep.
Let's get into super chats then. The second reel sent us $1.99 with no message. Oh wait, he said game over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully not for us.
Tacti Platy said, "LOL, can't take that seriously from Bowser."
Well, yeah, Bowser is in charge over there.
It feels like everything's a simulation.
It really does on a regular basis.
And it's so on the nose too.
Yeah. Black Dragon said, "As a guy who's been sexually harassed a few times, treating it as a gendered issue can make it difficult for men to talk about. You're usually told to either get over it or that you're downplaying the experiences of women."
And isn't that kind of what we're going through here? Like the men, maybe that's because that's how our society has evolved. So we have evolved to like internalize it and downplay it so that you don't think of it as a big deal. Whereas because women were newer to the workforce and there isn't as much difference there, and there's more difference there, that they are just not taught to do that the way men are.
In fairness, it didn't affect me. And I'm not saying, like, I don't know if I would call it sexual harassment or anything, but like, it didn't affect me to the point because like I'm a 6 feet Giga Chad that like, so I felt at no point did I feel like, like at danger with her,
Tacti Platy said, "Solution to this crap, repeal the 19th Amendment."
Lydia would love that.
I know she would. Also, I'm not reading that bad app.
Bad app was in my messages things from like we
Oh, what did he say?
I was just scrolling through it.
You didn't read it.
I haven't well, I saw that before I went to bed last night.
Oh. Waffle Sensei said, "Make the employees watch Grandma's Boy, the greatest movie ever made. It's a movie about family values and appropriate speech in the gaming industry."
Well, we could use that.
That movie rules.
John Harrison said, "Worked for years in sawmills, never saw the feminists demanding representation. Have yet to see women demand jobs on oil rigs, only in office jobs."
There's a great
where they can be the authoritarian control over the thermostat.
Yes. Oh man, there is some hilarious articles about.
I know
about how air conditioning was the downfall of civilization because it invited women to the workforce. But right now there's a really good Ryan Long bit about equality where it's like, it's great that women make up 65% of all the PR jobs in this country, but what we really want is a higher number of representation in
sewage treatment.
And then the other he goes, women still make up only 10% of whale snot collectors. Like, it's incredible.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, "Is women's fairness pay thing because women don't want to have to negotiate for a higher pay because they tend to be less confrontational?"
Yes. Yep.
Yes. But what's a solution to that? Because women aren't going to get more confrontational naturally.
You don't think that won't happen over time?
That's so deeply ingrained in evolution, or whatever you would like to call it, that that's a hopeless endeavor.
I mean, I got a
in
hot
my
take,
opinion.
but like negotiating salaries doesn't have to be confrontational if you don't suck.
That's true. That's true. And you would think that women would be
The more you know.
better suited for that because they have more social lubricants, I guess, naturally than men do.
Social lubricant. That's
it's
a
just
band.
a smile.
The social lubricant is a band name if I've ever heard one.
Waffles Sensei said, "We do not invoke Gamergate here."
Dane?
I mean, we shouldn't, honestly.
I think we actually should talk about Gamergate a lot more.
Okay, well.
As a cultural landmark.
Sure. So there's this chick called Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Okay, we're not going to rehash the whole thing right now. Bad App said, make a PCC Telegram group so we can send memes and bleep.
Yes.
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Sounds like a great way to get lawsuited.
We can invite Marion because she's
Bad
the
App,
Fed.
you can make it yourself.
Yeah.
Make a fan club. Dragon's Talon 1001 said, does the article state that when one of Hannah's male counterparts say good morning to her, she files a sexual harassment claim against them?
I didn't see that.
I
you
didn't
see
that part.
But
I read the whole thing.
But I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, likely.
Poor Hannah. Poor Hannah. We're just dumping. Actually, I think we've been pretty fair.
Bad App said, I tagged you in a story, and I won't say the rest of that chat.
And then one more from John Harrison.
John Harrison said, Granddad once told me, if you don't give a woman what she wants, she'll be unhappy. If you give her what she wants, she'll be miserable.
Your granddad was a Giga Chad, apparently. All right.
Top G.
Andrew Tate would approve.
Top G, Grandpa.
Andrew Tate would approve. All right, we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna try to be as this is gonna be a weird one because there isn't like a big hook for this one, guys. But this is about the creator of a show, thank you, called Reservation Dogs, and he does an interview where he talks about stereotypes in the indigenous community, getting the show made, and also his reasoning for why he believes the show got basically not given an Emmy nomination, and that was the part that I took issue with.
All of the headlines about the Emmys snubs and whatever people perceived it to be pissed me off because it's like not relevant to the public. Like, who wins Emmys is only relevant to the people who want to get nominated. That's it. No one else pays attention to it. It doesn't boost your show in any way to win an Emmy.
Dude, advertisement agencies are completely the same. Like, it's like top agencies giving themselves awards and they take it so seriously and it's hella lame.
So one thing that I want to point out here before we get started is that I have started watching this show. When I started reading this last night, I thought I'd look into it, and I'd heard good things about it. And the show is actually I've seen like the first episode and like half the second. It's really, really good. It's actually really, really good. There's strong characterization. There is a distinct personality to each of the main characters. You can tell that the humor is done in a way that means that like it was an all indigenous writers room, and that actually, whereas like normally that would be something we might push back on. I think that a lot of the humor hits because they don't feel worried about it's not white dudes making jokes that they're worried,
and it's not jokes that have to be funny to literally everybody.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. A big part of it was in my notes. I put I'm like, is this just a thing where it's like we're trying to appeal to too many people all at once, and that's a problem. So I give this guy a lot of credit so far. As far as what I've watched in the show, I'm not super far into it, but the first episode is really, really good. But there's just some stuff in here that that just.
Well, another reason I think that it turned out well is he says he has been given relatively free reign to do with this what he will, like an independent filmmaker would have. With a larger budget.
Budget. So basically, the issue for me was I did find it funny how he talks about it. He's like, he didn't feel like the show would be authentic if he didn't get to make it in Oklahoma. Like, your job is literally to make something authentic that's not real. But that's where I'm like when does we're getting to a point now where it's like only gay people can play gay people. Only this can play this. When is it no longer acting and we're just reenacting life experience, right?
And this guy praised the Prey movie. So
the praise wasn't very heaping. So I don't know if he's like, yeah, this
is it like obligatory? I don't
feels
like
obligatory.
I don't like that you would have to.
I gotta check the Rotten Tomatoes on that.
Why would you be obligated to praise something just because it casted people who are indigenous? Like, so, I don't like that.
Dude, the audience score went down base. I gotta think that was us.
So it says,
just us.
Just us.
I'm actually out here like review bombing it every day, like creating fake accounts.
Bots.
So it says, didn't FX want to shoot the show in New Mexico? He says that was nerve-wracking. I couldn't have spent 4 years faking New Mexico for Oklahoma. I wouldn't have been happy. I wouldn't have been proud. It would have been false. I think the authenticity that you feel in the show when you watch it comes from being shot here. That is part of the tone. The specificity is the relationship to this place, and I couldn't fake it anywhere else. I take a little bit of issue with that because I feel like as a showrunner, as a creator, your job is to be able to learn to fake elements of it because it's not like you're telling a 100% true story. But the elements of the story that really struck me as really, really honest was there's a feeling amongst these characters that they're looking for a way out of this place that they feel very hopeless and stuck within. Meaning like where they live, like they're trying to like in the first episode at least they're like robbing places to like save money to get out, but then they also have like the guilt of like leaving people in their community behind and seeing the rest of the struggle. And I do believe, in all honesty, that it comes across as well as it does because he understands that struggle. But I just take a little bit of issue with the idea that he wouldn't have been able to do it anywhere else because it's like when we say, what's the point of a character being exactly like the real life person? What, like, when is acting no longer acting? When is it just telling who you are to a screen and just happening to be your story?
Yeah, most things aren't filmed where they're set.
Exactly.
So I don't know why it would have been so important.
Vancouver Vancouver literally stands in for like half of the United States because so much stuff is filmed in Canada. So it says, in highlighting underrepresented communities, you are never going to represent all of it. Have there been gripes? There are people that if they don't see their exact version of representation, that doesn't sit well with them. I'm never going to be able to represent everybody in a way that is satisfying. We are trying to listen to people's concerns. It's a growing, ongoing, organic process to write a show. The best shows don't push anyone's concerns or voices aside. You listen to them and you embrace them. You see what you can do while still making the show that you're making.
Wait, let's unpack that. The best shows don't what people's concerns?
He says the best shows don't push anyone's concerns or voices to the side. You listen to them and embrace them and see what you can do while still making the show that you're making. Which sounds like he's saying like, that's too bad, and then just makes the show anyways, but I don't think that's what he means.
The best shows don't give up about your concerns.
Yes.
Do you think...
clearly cares, you know?
Well, I mean, but like, I don't think this is one of the best shows. Respectfully, this ain't Breaking Bad.
I'm picturing. Yeah, if Vince Gilligan, or if the David Simon, the guy who made The Wire, was like started like taking everyone's opinions on what his show should be, or season 1 of True Detective, which was written entirely by one person, which that is a landmark in cinema. That show, that first season of True Detective, is seen as one of a great achievement in that industry because it's a singular person's vision of that story. But they're not worried about story; they're worried about representing groups. I think that in a lot of times, most of the time, the story now comes second. He's just an example of someone who did it well and managed to make the story stand out and do very, very well. Most people don't have his gift. That's where I see the problem with most of it. When everybody else talks about it, it feels hollow. And when he talks about it, because he's successful at it, it actually works. But he talks about...
I get the impression that he is authentically talented, but
yes.
He's also fallen for a lot of the same lies as untalented people have.
Exactly.
So he kind of accidentally did something well.
Yes. Or he did something
fell into making this show good.
Yeah.
In a way.
So it says, when you've been extremely prolific, but this is your first experience working within the Hollywood machine. How did it measure up to your expectations? He says, I have a skewed, not so typical experience with the Hollywood machine because I'm with FX. There's no one telling me how to do this. It's very much a conversation. It feels like I'm an independent filmmaker with a bigger budget. Someone in my position could easily be pushed around because I was just so happy to have a show. That's actually both a huge problem, but also why most of the time Hollywood, when it succeeds, does, because a lot of times the studio's goals are to appeal to as many people as possible. Your goal is to make the show you want to make, and the goal is to find somewhere in the middle to end up, and hopefully you get a wider appeal while also hitting the points that you want to make in the story you're telling. But as we go into representative storytelling and not wider storytelling, which seems to be the focus now, nobody's focusing on making shows for everyone. They're focused on making shows that represent certain groups with the hopes that maybe other people take an interest in it.
Listen, I'm not going to spaz out again about like respecting source material. You guys already heard me like a billion times talked about that. But like, the best shows do have things in common, and like it's typically like A, relatable characters, B, convincing or at least like captivating stories,
and like that are separate completely from representation in the concept of who's playing who.
But like sometimes historic pieces, like that's a big part.
Yes,
right. That it feels and looks like the era or like the moment or whatever. Like I could see, like if I play like Will Smith in a biopic, like I understand why that would be off-putting. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, I mean, although my French Prince is pretty baller, but like beyond that, like we're just constantly not focusing on anything that matters ever in this industry anymore. And like do people not care that the only movies individuals are watching is Marvel movies? Mm-hmm. That the only way to get someone in a movie theater is to have their like Thor and their chicken tendies,
or Top
like
Gun.
The genre is dying, and it's because like you guys are like obsessed about being like the perfect pigmentation and the perfect height and the perfect this and the perfect representation, and you get the perfect looking person that doesn't know S.
Yeah. He also makes some interesting points about like allowing people to laugh.
These last 3 answers he gave in the interview really annoy me.
The first 2 didn't. It was the third one that bugged me a little bit. Do you want to go ahead and explain the first one? Why that one bugged you? So basically, he talks about that you're in a comedy group called the 1491s, where you said that you learned how to make entertainment for white people. What did that process look like?
He's saying that there's a history of guilt in America, and white people feel so guilty for the past. And in this context, the past of the Native Americans and how they've been treated.
Yeah.
That they are too nervous to laugh with them, because they're afraid of seeming like they're laughing at them when they make jokes. And here's why I don't like it. He said they want to be a good ally and listen, and like, I want you to laugh, but you're making it out like it's their fault that they have this perception that they need to shut up and listen.
No, society's done this to them.
Exactly. Like, you can't do anything.
It's the fault of your ilk, though. You know, like, and you're not exactly redeeming that situation. I get that he wants to have the type of humor that anyone can.
He wants the mass appeal. He wants the mass appeal that used to be prevalent in Hollywood, but he doesn't want to let go of the social power that they now control.
Like, decide, do you want people to let their guard down or not?
Yeah.
Because you can't have it all ways.
And the thing is, like, they just want to slap you in the face with representation. And like, my bad for going back to Breaking Bad, but it's the perfect show, and it's a perfect example. If you guys seen the show, in Breaking Bad, Walter White's son is handicapped. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, I'm talking episode 1, pilot beginning, it's obviously used as like a mechanism, like, oh man, like this poor guy, he doesn't make enough money, he's gonna have another kid and one of his kids is with disabilities, and you're making all the connections, like he probably doesn't make enough money, and like I'm worrying about him, I'm worrying about his health and all these things. And by like the kid never complains about it at all. He's never like, oh, with people with disabilities. Never. Not even once. Like, they make him into a super normal character. And there comes a point at the end where he leaps in the defense of his mother. And that's just a moment where you're like, man, this is like an incredible moment of like representation, because like like the person that I'm sure these people would victimize for like forever and ever and ever leaps into defense of the person he loves the most and becomes like the savior and the hero and like completely changes the energy of the scene. And it's a super memorable scene from like an iconic show. And like that is how you do representation. Like you give these people an arc besides the fact of their like conditions.
Whatever your immutable characteristics are doesn't have to define you.
Yeah, like you're a person outside of that. It's like from Game of Thrones, what's his name? Like Tyrion. Like most people remember Tyrion for being like quick-witted and brilliant. Like the fact that, you know, like his condition was like minor after a while.
There's I mention a lot of times Meredith Eaton. She's a little person, and she's an actress who's fantastic for her work that has nothing to do with the fact of her condition or of her size. She does great work in spite of that. Like that's the best part of watching her roles, is that I get lost in what I'm watching and I don't think about it anymore. It doesn't matter because she's just a great actress. So, and the other thing about this was that it reminded me of the last Ricky Gervais special, where he literally has to program people to remind them that these are just jokes. You can laugh. It's fine. Like, we're not telling us we hate people. We're just laughing at humor. You now have to, because society has scared the living crap out of people with propaganda and online harassment and all of these things, where you can no longer tell a joke anymore without getting 1,000 responses from people who are offended. You have to train people to remind them that it is okay to laugh sometimes.
Well, I dislike that we're acknowledging people have this guilt weighing on them that takes their senses of humor away. And then expecting them
to laugh when you want
to
when they pay to see
laugh
you.
in a compulsory way when you say that it's acceptable.
Yep. And then lastly, this is the one that I wanted to talk about. That this is what made me want to cover this, because I had to read it 3 or 4 times.
I hate this. Okay. The last part.
So they say there was certainly an expectation that Reservation Dogs would be a major player at the Emmys. What's your take on the lack of nominations? He says, there's racism out there, right? There's not another explanation for it. But also, I don't care. For me, the show is the award. Nominated or not, the success of the show is obvious. This is a first, a native show like this, so I can't fault them for not nominating us. They probably don't know what to do with this. They know what to do with Martin Short and those guys. Ted Lasso is much easier to see on the Emmy stage, but Reservation Dogs, where does that fit? I wrote the writer's room on a text thread saying it would have been great to be nominated, but it's okay. Don't forget that we made the best show ever. Here's
the pity applause you wanted.
There is a level of intellectual dishonesty there that is insane.
Well, the fact that he is outright saying there's no reason we got snubbed other than racism, but I can't fault them for not nominating us. Like,
this bothered me,
you want to be like innocent of like that unfair
fault them for their
accusation.
Racism?
And I also want to point out that, like, obviously a writer's room cares infinitely more about who is nominated for the Emmys than any ordinary person.
He's like, you're all racist, but it's
consuming the entertainment.
Yeah. The show's the reward, you know, because I'm like so morally pious. It's like, do you or don't you care?
It's just faux piety.
And the fact that he literally says there's no other explanation for it.
No other.
If anything, then he's insulting the other stuff that came out that year, saying that, like, that stuff must have been garbage. It must just be because that
the other stuff, which does have like major characters that aren't white. Yeah. So, I mean,
I also found it funny that
just say that the Emmys are unimportant. But they can't admit that because they're so entrenched in their industry and the sensibilities of
this is on the
writer's room and entertainers. They actually think that the Emmys are important.
This is the fault of the industry for courting this type of person, for courting this, not for courting this type of dialogue to be held between creatives and the world at large, right? When you reward this behavior and then they don't get rewarded every time, then that becomes a problem that comes back to bite them. So
and it's so ironic because Hollywood has supposedly been ahead of the times for decades.
I also want to point out that all the pictures besides the first one are pictures of awards, so clearly awards do matter to him.
Yeah, and I just hate this trend of people's like, I didn't win the award, gets it's time to shame the Academy for something. Oh, it's because I'm a woman. It's because I'm Latino. Oh, it's because this and that. It's like, maybe you just suck. And like you said, it was commendable, right? So
it's not even that he sucks. Maybe you just chalk it up to the fact that the
one
Emmys
person wins.
are not... the cultural touchstone that they maybe were before.
This is
one
what
person wins.
This is what I love about this show. It's like I don't consider anything we're saying here a hot take. I consider most of this to be a fair analysis of a good interview for the most part, and then some really bad takes, in my opinion, at the end. And everyone's allowed to have their bad takes. But I just found the last part so unfair to
Here's
the
what
Academy
he would
and to
have
everyone
said
else.
if he were really confident in this project. Our show was great, and it certainly deserved recognition. It didn't get it. That must be because the people who decide on Emmys nominations they are culturally out of touch.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
If they don't know what people actually loved the most.
Imagine taking this to another conclusion. Say you're at the Olympics and it's like scored runs, and somebody's like, "Well, I had the best floor routine in the Olympics." Well, mine was better, but the Olympic judges were clearly culturally biased against me. Like, you could make that same comparison there. There's no way to prove that. There's no way to.
They're the most progressive people
on
you
the
can
planet.
imagine, that on the planet at this current year.
Every article that I looked for, like when I'm reading for stuff for us to talk about every day, it's always about identity. The other article I've been talking about
It
was about, like, I literally covering this just bummed me out because I'm just like, I don't want to freaking talk about this stuff, but I find that statement objectionable and I think it deserves to be talked about. After Batgirl cancellation, She-Hulk casting creators stress the importance of studios supporting female-led superhero roles. You lose people the moment you make identity part of this, okay? All you have to say here is that She-Hulk cast and creators stress the importance of new studio projects. Regular people who are not culturally indoctrinated read this stuff and they're like, why does that matter? Why can't you just make something good?
You know what? I agree. Female-led movies are important. So how about we show some diversity in female-led movies and we have some female-led movies, they're not girl boss. Yeah. Because we have here, like, a girl that's not a girl boss, so clearly they exist, you know what I'm saying? So, like, how about we have a character in a show that's not a freaking woke activist, for once? Like, how about a superhero that's focused on, like, I don't know, doing right, instead of like being like constantly nagging and complaining?
We need to just get rid of human characters in movies for like 10 years so that there can't be any of this stuff. I'm serious.
That's gonna make the portion of furries skyrocket.
I don't care. At this point, I don't care. No human characters in movies for 10 years until they know how to write again.
I think that's why anthropomorphic characters are becoming more common anyway, because they find it easier
it's harder
to sell.
It's harder to write your article about how this is secretly racism when you make this. That's a
I
black
don't think
dog.
Low effort entertainment has to be the answer to,
they'll say it's
around
racism,
but all these accusations.
Okay, but great art is born out of struggle, right? So the struggle here is to somebody's like, look, I can't get anything approved because everything has to be about race, gender, sexuality, orientation, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to make something that doesn't involve any of those or as few of those as possible. So then you get a bunch of bad ones, but maybe you get one or two that are really, really good. And those end up defining an era of television for a couple of years. It would be nice to see that. I just don't know if people really have that ability.
I have a feeling that She-Hulk is going to get canceled almost
after one season.
Immediately, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, as many times.
How many failures will it take?
Dude, you will keep failing with this. Like, the people that represent these values don't have jobs. They can't subscribe.
Yep. Or they're watching it, but they're torrenting it. They're not.
Yeah,
which they're downloading at like Starbucks. Well, because they can't afford Wi-Fi in their
and
house.
also Starbucks in San Francisco can't legally kick people out.
Exactly. So just that topic itself was a hard one because I felt like that was a very, very good interview where there was a lot of very reasonable answers. That was just
He's
finished
got the appearance of a reasonable person, but really I think he's a malicious actor. Underneath it. Underneath that appearance of being, I don't know.
Maybe I'm less jaded, or not less jaded, but more hopeful. Like your idea.
I think underneath his appearance of being accommodating,
he's malicious.
Yeah.
Whereas I was hoping that maybe he is a decent person who's just been so heavily influenced by the industry he's chosen to be a part of that it's affected certain aspects in a way that he doesn't realize it's doing so.
I would lean more towards that. That's just like the typical response to like have like a petty clap back at the end of everything.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
He's just clearly not as confident in the project as he wants us to believe.
Which is sad too, because from what I've seen so far, it's actually quite good. It's got Zahn McClellan in it. It's really, really good. So I'm going to keep watching that this weekend. So I'm going to have to where you have to turn off the brain and I don't care if this guy said a bunch of stupid stuff. It's
Separate
fine.
art from the
art from artist. Exactly. All right, let's do super chats.
All right. Nathan Koss said, with how many women are taking testosterone, maybe they'll get more confrontational, Mary. The future looks bright.
That could be. Yeah, you never know. That's a man, baby. Did you know they want to make a Dr. Evil spin-off?
No way.
Like in 2022, they want to make a Dr. Evil spin-off.
What's the spin-off of his son?
I don't know. I was like, they can't even
the guy that played his son is dead.
Yeah, Vern Troyer's not alive anymore, so they'd have to recast.
Really, he's dead?
Oh yeah, Vern Troyer died a couple years ago.
Bro, F.
Yep.
F's in chat for Vern Troyer.
Yep.
Darth Doza said, I really love this show. It's clearly illustrated how insulated I've been from everything pop or culture. Crisis I have covered. I feel like I'm getting a crash course in both. Thank you.
You don't know how bad this industry is until you every day it gets worse and worse and worse. And our job is basically to not lose our minds while trying to convey what's going on. Or maybe it doesn't bother Mary or the guests as much, but I feel like I'm when you're reading all this stuff, when you read this type of intersectional stuff, it makes me feel like I need to take a shower. Because of the way they think?
Because you lived longer in a world that seemed sane.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
And then I just was raised in the insanity.
I was born in it.
What year were you born in?
2000.
Dude. Yeah, you're
F's in the chat for being born in 2000. Jesus Christ.
Riga Tan said, Dixon Shishigami Leona is so overrated. Real Chad's super chat, real girls like Mary Morgan, not VTubers. Welcome back to our favorite goth girl.
Can we point out how good she is at reading the super chats?
She's just incredible.
Incredible.
Because I think I slow down. I'm a slow reader.
I think the reason the show works is because I have extreme manic energy and Mary has extreme calm energy, and it meets somewhere in the middle.
I committed several hate crimes while reading super chats.
You did? Oh. Nathan Settlemeyer said, "Tell him, Kanye."
There was an article we thought about covering today about how what's his name, the loser from the Daily Show,
Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah was like, we need to be okay with Kanye.
He said humans are complicated.
I love that he's trying to get back in the fray. Dude, you ruined an American classical show.
He did.
You'll never get back in the fray. You've hired every single one except a funny person. You are the worst.
I feel the same way about anytime they tried to do Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live after Norm Macdonald. Never should have been done.
Dude, my biggest fight with a girlfriend in the past was when I called Trevor Noah diversity hire.
Oh.
Well.
And she was like, that's a term. You don't even know what it means. So I'm like, I mean, he got hired because of his race, not because of his qualifications.
Yeah. Did you think Trevor Noah was funny?
I mean, I saw a stand-up and I'll let you know when I start laughing. And dude, she was literally vibrating. It's he knows the definition! Anyway, he sucks.
Next.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, "There's no other reason but racism. Sounds like an extortion tactic.
Right.
If you're not racist, prove it by nominating my show."
Word.
Yeah. Season 2 is about to end, and I'm sure that those Emmy nominations are going to be good and plentiful. I have no doubt.
Yeah. Bad App said, "Hangover rules, bridesmaids drools."
Oh,
Bridesmaids was decent.
What is he? Is
Shane
he talking
Cashman,
about
the
the?
movies. Because somebody mentioned Bridesmaids. Oh no, somebody mentioned.
I never saw Bridesmaids. Were they good?
I didn't care for Bridesmaids, but that's comedy isn't really my bag.
Okay.
Love The Hangover though.
Joseph said, "One of my favorite artists is Alex Gray. I have to separate as well."
Yeah, like it's hard. Like I've told a couple of stories recently where I started doing like this thing where I check every actor's IMDb, and the closest you'll get to getting their opinions on stuff is sometimes there's a lot of quote sections in IMDb for different actors where you'll get an idea of what their beliefs are. But for me, I recently started doing like a liberal woman check-in. On like every show you watch it, I'm like, I wonder what this woman will have on her Instagram. Will it be abortion, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or something to do with Donald Trump? And usually it's the trifecta.
By the way, like one of the first screens of She-Hulk
Thank you.
is like her and the RGB like bobblehead.
Yeah.
It's so cringe.
I'm telling you, it's even worse than
And
the first lady.
I don't use cringe I don't use that term lightly, but oh my goodness.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, "Good female-led movie, Mom's Night Out. Best Christian film I've seen. Not overly religious. Good cast, good acting. Goofy, funny story about the struggles of moms at different stages of motherhood."
And that's a story about women.
I watched that movie, and I didn't enjoy it personally, but I don't remember it, being like heavily Christian themed either.
I've been watching more, I've been rewatching Alias because we talked about Alias recently. So I've been reinvesting my time in those first seasons of Alias, which are really, really good. All the actors in that are fantastic. It's got really young Bradley Cooper in season 1 and really young Sarah Shahi in season 1. It's great.
It's a good one. Graffer said Andrew Tate has been banned from Facebook and Instagram.
Oh my God!
We missed our chance, Brett.
What are we gonna do?
Justice for Andrew
Justice
Tate.
for Tate. Oh my God!
No,
he was too young.
Don't care. Lindsay said, "Wasn't Dr. Evil's real son Scott Seth Green?"
Seth Green's character. Seth Green's like relevant again, isn't he? Kind of. No.
Is he?
No.
And then he did raw
I heard
chicken.
bad things about Seth Green.
I feel like him and
What he do?
and Pauly Shore probably have some dark stories in their day.
Dish girl.
Well, I think it's like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh well, don't dish girl.
Yeah. Bobcat said, "I have to say, Brett is funny enough to be on SNL."
That is literally I thank you.
Wow.
But like that's like saying like you're
That's high praise. Actually, maybe they're insulting you.
That's
Because
what I'm saying.
SNL
Like
is so bad.
I posted a funny like thing the other night where it's like somebody like who had mastered the art of the backhanded compliment, and now I wanna look it
You're
up.
funny enough to be on Friends.
There was a thing.
Yikes.
There was a compliment that I saw the other night where it was on just this guy's Instagram, and it says, "Very proud of you, even though you've changed." Which is like the greatest backhanded compliment somebody's ever been given.
You got that?
No, not to me.
Okay,
not to me. But I was like, it was that's how much it hit me. It was like this guy. It was the guy who does the "Hey Cheetah." What's that guy?
That was on it.
It was on that guy's
How does that
page.
guy change? All of his videos are exactly
I know.
the same. We sound crazy right now. I think we've mentioned this on the show before, but let's just explain for the viewers who don't know. Brett is obsessed with these videos
Not obsessed,
on Instagram reels that are like, they read out recipes in the form of song.
Rap. It's rapping.
Rap and like
R&B.
R&B vocals.
It's great.
With this guy and his puppet tiger.
It's a puppet cheetah.
Or, no,
That sounds
cheetah.
awesome.
And the
he's
guy
like,
asks
"Yo,
like,
cheetah," and then the cheetah's like, "What's up?"
And the cheetah explains to him the Muppet cheetah explains the recipe to him. It's the guy's Instagram handle is good boy Noah. Go. His music is.
Can you send me one?
His music is substandard. His reels are art. His reels are art.
Art. Wow.
But
Have you guys seen Friends without the laugh track?
Oh, it's terrifying,
Dude.
absolutely terrifying.
Like it's like this. I love when like Joey's like, "How you doing?" and it just like stays there like gyrating for like 30 seconds. It's like this guy has issues.
Yeah. Yep.
Nathan Settlemeyer said, Mary reads chats the best, but Shane's accent makes it sound like art.
Does Shane have an
What's
accent?
Shane's accent?
Yeah. What is Shane's accent?
Pretty boy accent.
Pretty boy.
Shane's a gorgeous man.
Shots
He's
fired.
a handsome.
He's a gorgeous
handsome
man. What's
I
wrong
thought
with
pretty boy was like an insult.
that? No, I mean he's
You're
handsome.
calling him Twinkle Toes or something.
Whoa, okay, well that's you.
Paper2X said, that's terrible, Dane. Another raspberry for you.
Okay.
What is this?
I don't know if this is a
It
compliment
started
or
with
an
a
insult.
strawberry, and now we've made it to raspberry. Like, I don't know.
Apparently, I need
This
fruits.
is code for something.
Yeah.
All right, Mary. Let's talk about. Do you want to lead the next one for Podluck? We're starting Podluck.
Yikes. I
Amanda?
guess. Yeah, sure. So we talked about Demi Lovato's new album.
No, Amandla first.
Oh, you want to talk about Amandla?
Amandla.
It's guys.
Amandla.
Guys, it's Amandla and not Amanda Stenberg.
Get it right.
She messaged a critic of Bodies, who called the movie a 95-minute advertisement for cleavage.
As a man, I have absolutely no problem with a 95-minute advertisement.
Yeah, what
for cleavage.
platform is
Just
that on?
saying.
I don't know if this is accurate or not.
Shout out to cleavage.
Well, it's in the
A's in the
headline
chat
there.
for
I'm
cleavage.
assuming that
C's in
that's
the chat.
Amandla in the image, but she said your review was great. Maybe if you had gotten your eyes off my, I don't know if I can say
Yes.
off of my breasts,
There
you
you
would
go.
have watched the movie.
Oh, burn.
XD.
Oh my God, she like totally
She owned
just
him.
owned
She
her.
Got him, queen.
Pwned him.
Yas, Queen Slay.
I'm receiving a lot of commentary on the internet for being a very naughty girl for sending a DM that I thought was hilarious, she said. There's a film critic, and her name is Lena Wilson. She described Bodies as a 95-minute advertisement for cleavage, which I thought was hilarious. I'm proud that a piece of work I was a part of was described as such in such a renowned publication. I thought because Lena is gay and I'm also gay, as gay people, we would both find this comment funny. I was also curious to know what Lena would say to such a statement. Lena decided to publish it and also says that I'm homophobic for saying it.
Classic miscommunication here.
She also added, it's quite surprising the amount of commentary I receive on my boobs.
That's
I wrote this I wrote this tank top in this movie because me and the costume designer felt it fit the character well. I do get tired of people talking about my chest. There seems to be a lot of unwarranted conversation about my chest.
There's no such thing as unwarranted conversation about breasts. Sorry.
And then to the mad critic, she said, I thought my DM was funny. I did not mean to harass you. I do not wish you any harm. You're allowed to have your criticism on my work, and I'm allowed to have my criticisms of your work. I wish you the best. Classic misunderstanding.
I love it.
I find it hilarious that it was the critic who got super offended, not her.
Yeah.
Because at first, with a name like Amandla, you assume she's
Brother.
the annoying one. You assume she's the culprit.
Yeah.
Especially like as somebody whose name's Brett and gets mistaken for Brent or Brett with one
Or
T.
Brett with one T, yeah.
Which is, I don't know what's worse. Personally, I think Brent is worse because Brent just sounds like Brett, but you sneezed when you named them. So, Amandla just seems like they're trying to make your life more difficult so she can be like, can you get my name right?
So true, Brett.
Exactly. See? Perfect.
And I'm actually surprised that the film critic was allowed to say that about the movie, because it does sound like something you could get heat for from feminists.
But because she's gay, she's allowed. Guy
Is
would
that
get,
true?
Guy would get in trouble for saying
I mean,
Interesting.
if she's gay, she's more likely to be overly distracted by cleavage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least you would think so. I don't know. I just thought this was like funny and bizarre.
It's,
I think it's good that she has a good sense of humor about it.
Yeah. I don't buy that she did not think it would get this much attention. I think when anything...
She's promoting the movie for sure.
Anything that's put on screen deliberately is there to get your attention.
Yeah.
When I make a thumbnail of Sydney Sweeney
Crying
crying
in a
with,
bikini
with cleavage, that's because we know that somebody is going to look at that and say
we're
va va boom.
ghouls.
Yeah, and
We're
we're
ghouls,
and we're
okay.
ghoulish. So it is a classic misunderstanding.
Also, I don't know. Have either of you seen it?
No.
Okay, I was
See
thinking
what?
about it because there was some article I saw that called it like a Gen Z horror film, but
which sounds horrible. Like,
I don't know
God,
what
yeah.
makes it Gen Z.
it's up there with like we're in this trend right now of like Black Christmas remake where it's like PG-13 horror, which is like, as somebody who doesn't even really care for horror, if you're gonna do horror, at least go the whole way and make it rated R. The last thing we need is PG-13 horror. So,
yeah.
Do you want to do Demi Lovato? We're doing it.
Now I'm not so sure.
We're doing it. Too late. We're doing
all
it.
All right.
We'll try to be as amicable as possible.
No.
Okay, well.
So we mentioned Demi Lovato's new album a couple times on the show because we were talking about one of her songs that was directed at an ex-boyfriend.
Is this about reading it? Would you prefer if I read it? Is that a problem?
What do you mean?
I
don't think that word is allowed on YouTube.
I don't know. So it says Demi Lovato has explained that her new song is in reference to the Bible verse Matthew 5:30, which according to her shames self-pleasure. Is this true, Mary?
Well, she says she misquotes the Bible verse and says, "If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, for it's better to lose one part of your body than your entire body go to hell." That's not what the Bible verse says.
What does it say?
I can look up exactly what it says right now, but I know for a fact it doesn't say that.
So she, and you guys are gonna love this part in the last paragraph after the conversation we had yesterday. I'll just read it. So it says Matthew 5:30 says, "If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, for it's better to lose one part of your body than your entire body to hell." That was a Bible verse I heard since I was too young to know what.
She's okay. The thing is, she's taking it out of context because this is about adultery.
Okay.
It says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell.
What if both eyes do it? And
if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away." And it repeats that same line. So, and that doesn't just apply to adultery. It's also just about like finding occasion to do evil when you could have easily avoided the occasion.
That's a funny concept, like having a very respectful eye and then a naughty eye.
My right eye is my naughty eye.
My left eye is just it had both parents. It was very mature. It had solid relationships with its mom and its dad. It's all about respect. My right eye, it's a little bit of a bigot. It's in
Hustlers Academy.
Sexist. Yeah, it spends a lot of time listening to Andrew Tate. My right eye, my right eye, my right ear are both big Andrew Tate fans. I can't help it.
But I just think she must be an expert at promoting and marketing.
Yes,
because Demi Lovato,
she's created so much fake controversy about her album already.
I want to get to this last line, guys. Everyone who listened to the show yesterday will love this line, where it says, so basically she says that she heard the verse before she was too young to know what self-pleasure was, and says, "Now I have my own line of sex toys."
I was unaware of this.
Self-pleasure, again, I don't know if we can say that word, can be a form of self-care.
And so is watching Pop Culture Crisis. It's self-care.
Yesterday, me and Hannah Claire, we and Shane talked a lot about how self-care has just become code for like overly indulgent, and then you can't criticize me for indulging my every whim. Mm-hmm. So that seems perfect, right in line with what she's saying right here. She said, "It can be a form of self-care. It's not something to be ashamed of at all." She says, I take it Christians aren't fans of I Touch Myself by the Divinals either. I don't know who that is. I've never heard
I think
that
that song was in Austin Powers.
Yeah, I've heard the song, but I don't know the name of the group. Just like the Lovato's sexuality and spiritual salvation,
self-care the like button.
She also what?
Self-care the like button.
Yeah, guys, if you could please self-care the like button right now. It goes a long way in the algorithm to helping us. So self-care us right into stardom if you could. So it says, just like the Lovato's sexuality and spiritual salvation, she's also faced a similar dichotomy in her career. While on the surface, the singer-songwriter initially seemed like a squeaky clean Disney starlet. Even using the word starlet there is creepy. Lovato made headlines in 2010 when she withdrew from her national tour with the Jonas Brothers and entered a rehab facility. And then there was more stuff, like they were talking about her and Wilmer Valderrama recently too in other articles. So It's.
I think overall point. This woman is going off the rails a little bit. I'm worried about her.
Yeah, like focus on your career, dude. Like, like she has like a new pronoun every week. Like it's like what do you do even anymore?
Yeah, and it's sad because it's just the same train wreck narrative over and over again that we're forced to watch.
It feels like somebody who's at war with themselves psychologically.
I need like the psyops to evolve, man. Like I need this like. To
What's
get more
the
interesting.
goal of this psyop though? Of like watching, especially the former child stars who are girls go down this path over and over again. Like what? I don't understand what the psyop is trying to achieve.
Degradation of culture and our belief in what of women as they come into adulthood.
I mean, that's a good hypothesis.
That's oddly specific, yeah, but I like it.
I don't know. And before we go, we have a fantastic way to end the show today. Yesterday, there was some stuff about
It's a big womp womp.
Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is complaining about the Rust set. Alec Baldwin is complaining about the Rust set. But we have a new one from Alec Baldwin today who says that he was afraid that Trump supporters would Minecraft him. I don't know. Yeah. He was afraid that Trump supporters were going to take him out after the Rust shooting. So somehow, some way, they found a way to make this Donald Trump's fault.
Incredible.
Like he should teach. He is the Simone Biles. Is it Biles of mental gymnastics? I love it.
Also,
Can I
love
tell that to the IRS?
he still denies having pulled the trigger.
Yes.
After the FBI said you have to pull the trigger in order for a bullet to discharge from the gun.
And I want to know.
Crazy idea, right?
Donald Trump didn't pay my taxes. Like.
Also, I want to know why the heck they didn't do more investigation into how the hell 7 live rounds of ammunition made it into a box of 500 rounds of dummy ammunition. Like they're like we just tested to make sure that they actually fired.
This is the craziest part I read is that he hired a private investigator to make sure he wouldn't be prosecuted with anything.
Yep.
How can you even admit that?
Yep.
For everyone to know, like, is that even legal? I don't even think that's legal.
Like, is he saying like he's going to dig up dirt on people to make sure that they can't prosecute him?
I have no idea.
Or is it like that what he should have said is I hired my own independent investigator.
That could mean anything.
Yeah.
Me and Hannah Claire concluded that his strategy is going to be like, we're still talking about this? Guys, this is so 2021. Like,
Yep. But so guys, if you were wondering whose fault it is that Alec Baldwin shot someone on instead of Rust.
He said, here was Trump who instructed people to commit acts of violence, and he was pointing the finger at me and saying I was responsible for the death. But it's like, regardless of anything to do with Trump or anything he's said or done, you were responsible for the death.
Yep.
Like, I am still just flabbergasted that he has
mind,
no remorse
not
whatsoever.
Not announced guilt. I was watching something earlier where a guy was. There was a couple of stories recently where a guy was like he got shot in like his old boxing gym, and like his friend who worked with him there like felt bad just because he got him the job there. Right? Like he's like, it's normal to feel guilty, even if you're kind of tangentially connected to something bad that happens, because that's kind of how we are as humans, right? You may not actually be guilty, but it's normal to feel that guilt, even if it isn't your fault. This actually is his fault, and he doesn't feel an ounce of guilt.
I mean, the denying pulling the trigger is insane to me.
Yeah.
Saying even if he did pull the trigger that he wasn't responsible for the death.
Everyone's just learning from Jesse Smollett that it's like, well, we have like incredible proof. And he's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah. He still maintains his innocence too.
You can just say anything you want.
Yep. Well, this thing, because most people don't ever like look up the follow-up story, you can just say anything now, and people will believe it, and then just never be corrected.
It gets memory hold, and then that's that.
Guys, I'm a Nigerian prince. Something, send me your money.
I saw a thing the other day. I posted a meme the other day. It says $43 million found in the home of like a Nigerian man's house, like in the walls. And somebody's like, that must be the guy who's been sending you those emails all those years, and nobody answered him.
Based.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Let's do super chats.
Okay. Tacti Platty said, dang, Brett, can my meme page get a shout out
yes.
too?
Tacti _Platty on Instagram. He sends me memes memes on the regular, and they are
On the
funny.
reg.
I do have a trouble sometimes because like when I think of meme, I think of pictures, but memes now doesn't just mean pictures. It also means like short form videos.
Oh, yeah.
It's no longer memetics have evolved past just photos.
The memes are changing, and
they-
Brett doesn't know what to make of it.
Boomer Brett can handle it.
What?
I'm being mean.
You're being mean. And frankly...
This is an uncomfortable work environment.
I'm going to file a complaint
You're
with the
ageist.
Human Resources Department.
It's funny because you're old.
K for 2X said, Brett, you dog. Viva la cleavage.
That is true.
Cleavage.
I'm going to put like a notifier for Sydney Sweeney topics just so that we can force them into the topics so that we can make the thumbnails.
They make great thumbnails. I was about to say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Dragon's Talon 1001 said someone needs to explain to Demi it's not the hand that is the pleasure part.
Demi could do with having a lot of stuff explained to her right now. Unfortunately.
I think she needs to
Quote of the year.
go to rehab again. Shards of Narsil said, I'm Demetrios. It has 100 spellings. Stop, Brett.
Oh, there's a really famous
That's an interesting name.
rollerblader named Ian, and his last name is McLeod, and nobody could ever spell his name right because it's Ian, and nobody would ever get the second I, and they would never spell McLeod right because it was MC and Leod. So it's like McLeod, but it's pronounced McLeod. So in like hundreds of skate videos, you saw literally every permutation but the right way.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they get the first name right, sometimes they get the last name right, but usually some mixture of the two being incorrect.
Being named Ian with 2 eyes is just a
Ian.
sentence.
Ian.
Bad app. I'm not reading that. Caleb775 said Mary is the greatest part of pop culture crisis.
Aww.
Thank
Must
you.
feel good to be back, Mary.
Yeah, it feels great. I love you all. The
That's
adoring fans.
Wow, clip that. You'll never hear that again.
It's just like directly after seeing a bad app message, I'm not going to be like
As enthusiastic.
Yeah. John Harrison said Jussie Smollett had such a hard time finding white supremacists that he had to outsource the job to Nigerians. Also, check out The Mob, Akira the Dawn.
Yep. That's funny too because who is it that had that quote that says like the need for racism is higher than the supply.
Mm-hmm.
But with Smollett, like I was thinking like what he needs to do if he just thought it through and moved to like I don't know, Alabama and done the same thing, people would have been like totally.
Bro,
But in Chicago, was it?
Yeah,
he
Chicago.
literally lost me at I wanted Subway.
At 2 a.m, at 3 a.m.
I wanted Subway, period. I was lost.
The funny thing is, so everyone's like, there's no such thing as 24-hour Subway, but there actually was a 24-hour Subway where I was from in Minnesota.
You wanted a garbage overpriced sandwich, dude?
At 3 a.m.
At 3
Subway
in the morning?
is not good.
It
I'll
isn't.
say it. Panera is really good.
Hell yeah, dude.
As far as sandwiches.
There we go. High fives.
High five.
Boom.
Jimmy John's.
Are we gonna bring
That's good
back
too.
the how far into a relationship before you go to Panera?
Oh gosh.
Or Noodles and Company?
How long in a
does that
relationship before you go to Subway? Like you have to be like together for like
Subway.
15 years and
Dude,
hate each
oh
other.
my god. The love is dead at Subway.
Like
I'd rather take her to Burger King.
hey, I love Burger King.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather take her to Burger
Burger
King.
King isn't half bad.
There we go.
1,000-foot deep end said Baldwin will eventually go with the Hillary Clinton Benghazi defense. What difference at this point does it make?
Yeah.
But his
Honestly, yeah.
He will.
but his rush shooting though, he should make merch. But that rush shooting though, like they had the merch recently that says butter emails though.
Dragon Stalin 1001 said, Mary merch. I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah, bad app. Or I don't know if it doesn't say bad app on the shirt, but it's definitely say I'm not reading that.
We need a bad app sponsorship.
Yes.
On this show.
And if anybody wants super chats,
Oh, Quiznos
I'm
was
like
super
kind
good.
of waiting here because
Quiznos?
I have now had 2 days in a row where people have super chatted right as we're going off the air, so I don't want that to happen.
Get it out of your system right now.
I don't want it to. I don't want anything to go bad, guys. So if you have them, get them in. But in the meantime, Dane, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me, baby
Thank
boy.
you for having the glory and the kindness to help us.
The magnanimity.
Yes, to come in on a day when you don't normally work, on the show.
Oh, okay. I was like,
and help
I
us
don't?
out. So let everyone know where they can find you.
I think fun on Twitter.
That is perfect. I love it when you do that. Mary, there was one more in there, and
Okay.
then go for it.
Bobcat said, hey, when it's 3 a.m. and you're drunk, you find yourself wanting whatever food is for sale.
Bro,
I have
eat
no
pine
problem.
But then go
cones.
for McDonald's, not Subway.
Go to a gas station. Like,
anything.
You're probably right. Gas station would have been a better bet. So, all right.
It's not believable, Jesse.
for real.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram or WeChat at Closer Kitty, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
That she does, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. And Bad App says, I told you, nerds, I'd sponsor you. Well, that's very harsh language there.
Oh, okay.
It's very harsh language there.
How do you think we're going to make business deals if you're talking to us like that?
It's in the contract, like, dear nerds. Or it's like, to whom, whichever nerds this may concern.
He's just doing top G negotiation.
All right, there's one more, Mary. You want to go ahead and read it from Waffle Sensei?
He says waffles are better than Soldier Fit.
Yeah, right, dork.
I mean, they are though.
That Soldier Fit? No, you
I'm
get
sorry,
jacked.
you're
And
a
there's hot
Soldier
moms.
Fit. You're a Soldier Fit soldier.
There we
so
go.
I'm personally offending you right now.
Yeah, you are.
All right, guys. Thank you again. Again, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Brett Dasovic for the show. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. And then Tacti Platy sends another super chat that says sponsorship rates.
$1 million.
You would have to. We would have to discuss that off air. But thank you again. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. Thank you guys again for putting up with the sound issues that we had yesterday. I'm so glad that today went smoother. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.